All right, so we have already had function notes part one. So now we're going to do functions notes part two. This one should be a lot shorter video than the last one. We take a look at this would have been your bell ringer, but it's a good review for the first video we watched. So if we look at these, in the last video we talked about if you have a set of points, which is called a relation, can you tell if it's a function? If you have mapping, can you tell if it's a function? And then if you have a table, can you tell if it's a function? And remember, what is a function? A function means that every x can only go to one y value. So if any of your x's repeat, then it's not a function. So I want you to pause the video, take a minute, look at these three questions, and you decide which ones are functions, which ones aren't. And then I'll go over it and we'll see how you're doing with what was in the last video. So when you have your assignment coming up, you'll know what you're doing. So take a minute to do that. All right, so if we look at number one, was it a function? What are our x values? We have a 3, a 6, a 0, and a 3. So is it a function? No, because we have a repeating x value. We have 3 matched with a 6 and 3 matched with the 1. We can't have that. It's not allowed. So that is not a function. If we look at number 2, we have a mapping. 10's going to 15, 20's going to 45, 30's going to 25, and the last one, 40's going to 35. So if we look at those, is it a function? Yes, it is. Why? Because each x only has one arrow leaving it. 10 only has one arrow, so we're good. 20 only has one arrow, so we're good. 30 only has one arrow. 40 only has one arrow, so then it is a function. Now, if 10 was going to 15, and if 10 also had an arrow going down to 35, then it would not be a function. All right, so if we look at number 3, is it a function? Let's look at our inputs, our x values. We have a 2, a 4, a 3, and a 2. So is it a function? No, it's not a function because 2 is going to 20 and 2 is going to 40. So that's not allowed. So not a function. All right, so what we're going to look at today is, since we've done looking at a set of points, is it a function? Looking at a mapping diagram, is it a function? Looking at a table, is it a function? Now we're going to look at if you're looking at a graph, is it a function? And that's actually, out of all the ones, that's probably the easiest one. So graphs can be used to determine if a relation is a function by using the vertical line test. So you need to get those notes you used for the last video, and you need to write down vertical line test, a vertical line test. And basically all that is if you're looking at a graph and a line on a graph, if a vertical line can be drawn so that it intersects the graph more than once, then it's not a function. All right, so what that means is if you can draw a line straight up and down, and if you no matter where you put the line, if you can only hit the graph at one spot, if you can only hit the line on the graph at one spot, then it's a function. But if you draw that vertical line and you can hit the graph more than once, it's not a function. So let's look at some examples. So if we have that line, draw a vertical line, only hits it once. So no matter where you put a vertical line, it would only hit it once. So that would be a function. Whereas if you had that on a graph and you drew a line, look, it hits it here and here. So not a function. All right, so let's look at some examples. All right, so if we have that line right there, no matter where I draw a vertical line, it can only hit it once. So if I draw a line straight up and down right here, only hits it once. If I draw a line here, only hits the red line once. Vertical line, if I draw it here, only hits the red line once. If you can only hit it once, it's a function. All right, so if we look at this one, draw a vertical line. Nope, only hits it once. Vertical line, once. Vertical line, once. No matter where you draw, it can only hit it one time. So that means it's a function. All right. So we have this one. If I draw a vertical line, it hits it at every single spot on there. So since it hits it more than one time, not a function. Because no matter where because if you draw that line over top of it, it is completely covered. All right, what about this one? Draw a vertical line, only hits it once. Draw a vertical line, only hits it once. What about here? Only hits it once. So since you can only hit it once, it's a function. All right, so you look at these three and decide functions or not a function. Pause the video, take a look. You decide function or not a function. If you're still not sure, it's okay. I'm going to go over it. We'll do some more examples. So if we look at this first one, if I draw a vertical line here, I hit the line, draw, hit the line. So I hit the line twice. If I draw it over here, draw, hit the line, draw, hit the line. So you hit it twice. So no matter, so if I can draw a line anywhere on here, and if it hits the thing more than once, not a function because it touched it here and there, not a function. All right, let's look at this one. No matter where you draw the line, I draw it, boom, hits it there. I can draw here, hits it there. Draw a line here, hits it there. No matter where you draw the line, it can only touch the line one time. So that means it is a function, And then if we take a look at this one, if I draw a vertical line, hit the line, I can hit it twice, which means not a function. Okay, so that's all you're doing. Vertical line test. You're just drawing, looking at it, and you can just trace it with your finger and say, okay, follow it, go vertical line. No matter where I do that with my finger, I can only hit it one time, so it's a function. Whereas if you go and cover it and you can hit it more than once, not a function. So what about that one? Function or not a function? Well, if I draw a vertical line, I can hit the red circle, the oval once, twice, so not a function. So that's all the vertical line test is. If you have a graph and the graph says, is it a function? All you do is look at it and see, if I was to draw a vertical line somewhere on there, if I can only hit the line one time, great, that's a function. If I can hit it more than once, it might be twice, it might be 3 times, it might be 4 times, then it's not a function. All right, so look at these 4 and you decide function or not a function. Go ahead and pause the video, look at those. See what you think. Oh, and down here, I need to fix that. So this should be -2, -1, 0. The numbers are kind of mixed up there. But that's -2, -1, 0. All right, so let's look at the first one. Function or not a function? All right, 0 has 1 arrow, 1 has 1 arrow, 2 has 1 arrow, 3 has 1 arrow. So that is a function. Doesn't matter that they're all going to 5. Doesn't matter. The Y's don't matter. All that matters is on the domain, on the input, each number only has 1 arrow. So that's good. Check function. Number 2, function or not a function? Well, if you look at the x's, do you have any of the x's more than once? Oh, yeah, every single one of them. -3, -3, -3, -3. So that's not a function because you have the same number more than once on the x. Come over here to 3. Vertical line test. If you draw a vertical line, can you hit that graph more than one time? Yep, look, if I draw it right here, I hit it once, twice, 3 times. So not a function. And then number 4, the numbers are messed up, but really all you got to do is look at the arrows. -2 would go to 3 and 4, which means automatically that's the only one we got to look at, not a function, because this number, which should be the -2, should be up here. The -2 has 2 arrows. So automatically that tells you not a function. So function, not a function, not a function, not a function. All right, good. You don't have to worry about that. So that's it for the video note. So that was all you had to do for today. Watch the video, comment on the post on Google Classroom that you watched it. That's the only way I can give you points. So make sure that you go on there and post that. And then the next day for class, whether it's in person or whether it's online, whatever we end up being, we'll have an assignment going over everything we've done in the first function notes video and everything we just covered in the second function notes video. So if you have any question, come to the Google Meets or email me and let me know. Other than that, I will talk to you all later.